All right, thanks, Sarah. Nice to see everybody here today. I am going to be talking to you today with my friend here, Giant, about internal comms and helping you to really figure out which app to use for which scenario and how to reach your employees effectively. We're going to be walking through a fictional scenario with our demo customer, Contoso, but all of this is really inspired by actual experiences that we've had here at Microsoft, both just us internally as customer one or customer zero, as we test our own tools and use them ourselves, but also the best practices that we've collected from our customers and the people that we talk to every day. So let's get started here. So just a little bit on the importance of internal comms. I think we wouldn't be here if we didn't think that internal communications were important. But the Gartner data really does show that internal comms are an essential piece of making sure that you create an environment that empowers your employees to succeed. So that's why this is so important. So our scenario for today that we're going to be walking through is with our customer Contoso. They are planning a diversity, equity, and inclusion month in the near future. And so some of their goals here are going to be to make the DEI kind of part of their work culture and just kind of ingrain it with everybody's day-to-day work and the way that they interact with each other. Giving them some self-paced learning opportunities so that they can learn more and do their own self-development, making people aware of the information and resources that are available to them, and encourage some ongoing dialogue within their teams. So this is what they have to work with. So kind of let's take a look at what they have in their Microsoft toolbox. So we have a lot of apps to choose from. I think we've probably all felt like this little guy on the left here, I've got something I want to share, but I've got a lot of different apps and tools available to me. So how do I figure out which one of these is going to be the best one for the job? So I have a couple of our apps here. This is not all of them, but just want to walk through a couple of them. And these are the main ones that we're going to be walking through today. And we'll go through the entire scenario, kind of start from finish. But, our first app that we're used to using all the time is Outlook. I think that's kind of the default that we've always used. But, we've all also kind of experienced that there is, you can have a lot of information overload and just have a lot of things happening in Outlook, and that can get cluttered and distracting very quickly. We have Microsoft Teams. So that's where we use to do our collaboration and productivity, where we spend a lot of our time during the day. We have some chats and posts in there as well. A lot of two-way communication within Teams. The next one down is Company Communicator. And this isn't something that automatically comes with Teams. You would have to add it yourself. But if you're not already familiar, it's a really powerful app that sends very short, actionable messages to people through a chat. And you can direct it to either everyone in the organization or a subset of users, depending on who you want to target. And it can be part of a larger messaging campaign, or if you just have individual messages that you want to send out to people. But it's nice because you're able to track the read rate and really understand the effectiveness of your communication. Some use cases, and we'll go through this, in a minute here, but some of them are like sharing productivity tools and tips, asking people to sign up for things like reminders for required training. So it's a really powerful tool for getting messages out very quickly to your users. We have Viva Engage, which has been known as Yammer up until this point, but it's being rebranded throughout the year as Viva Engage, and that's our easily accessible through Teams. It is a great way to build community and make connections and kind of crowdsource information as well. So that's another communication tool available. SharePoint, which is commonly used as an intranet. So a lot of people have that there for sharing news, storing documentation. But you can do a lot of posting and communications there as well. And then the last one, excuse me, is Viva Connections, which is really your home base within Teams that surfaces your relevant content from across your organization and across your other apps like Viva Engage or SharePoint or Viva Learning. So in addition to these applications that we're mostly familiar with, that we're probably using in some capacity today, we're also going to be introducing sometime probably, I believe, next year, is something called Viva Amplify. And this is going to be a really powerful tool that will help manage multi-channel publishing when it comes to Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, and Viva Engage, and across multiple devices. And so it manages these larger communication campaigns along with some AI that will help to refine your wording and make sure that you're creating effective communications that are consistent, and that you can manage these larger scale communications initiatives. So that will be coming soon. So something to look forward to. But if we think back to Outlook, and that's kind of been our traditional, method of communication. I think a lot of us have felt like the image on the left here, just being buried in a pile of emails. And so we really want to look and think about a more modern way of doing a communication strategy within your organization. And the way to do that is to really focus on reaching your employees where they do all of their work, which primarily is in Microsoft Teams. And that's an easy way to access, the other apps that you have available to you, and be able to, integrate your messaging campaigns and have the message be received by your employees in the place that they're doing their work regularly. In the near future, the way that Viva Amplify is going to fit into this equation is that it will help you connect to this set of apps as well. So you'll be able to manage these messaging campaigns across these set of apps here. So I'm going to jump right into our scenario here. So when we're embarking on a new initiative, and we want to be, letting people know about our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Month, the first thing we're going to need to do, of course, is to start planning. So the things that they're going to want to do in this planning phase, we want to map out the events that are going to be happening. We're going to want to assign some action items and make sure everybody knows who's doing what, and start preparing some of our content. So this is all of the preparation work that will be done first in each of the apps that I just showed on the previous screen here. So the first thing that our Contoso team is going to do is go within Teams as their productivity platform, and use Teams as the place to do that asynchronous planning. You'll have their posts so that they're able to, post notifications, post messages, and do some of that collaboration. And they'll also have, if you look across the top, there are different tabs for the different resources and tools that they'll be using to build out this campaign and really plan the month ahead. Within this Teams channel, there's also the channel calendar, so they can use that to do their planning meetings. And this is a nice, easy way of just keeping everybody informed and up to date, so that they're able to see all of the activities that are being planned for the month. Next, we have our planner within Teams, and this is how we're going to be managing their to-do items. They can put in due dates, assign items to people, and you can really do a lot of configuration with the views. You can group things in different ways, depending on your project and your preferences. But this is a nice shared way of being able to manage all of the to-dos and all the things that need to get done leading up to your event. We're also going to be going into Viva Engage. So we have a tab across the top for Viva Engage. And this is a community that our team has created to start building some of that community and giving people a place to post messages, ask questions, and start making those connections with other people internally. We're also going to be hosting some events and things as well. So I have a little animation here. If we scroll down, you can see some of the content that has been posted within our community already, so that when people start joining the community, our Contoso team has decided that they want to have some information already in there, so people are already joining kind of an active community that has some things happening, and they can kind of get an idea too of how they can engage with the community themselves when they are ready to start posting questions. Next, if we go over to the events tab within our Viva Engage community, you can see some of the events that are being planned for the month. We have a kickoff call that is going to be scheduled, so that's something that everybody will be invited to. And then they're also planning something called an AMA, or an Ask Me Anything event, which is they'll have a panel, and then they'll have people be able to ask questions from the panel. And that will be another optional event that they're planning for the month. And another thing that, in addition to Viva Engage and our planner, they also want to make sure that they have some learning opportunities prepared. So they have in Viva Learning, they're creating a learning collection. And then a SharePoint site. So they're going to want to post some documents and resources on their SharePoint site. They might be posting news, but you can see on SharePoint, they're also linking to some of their other resources as well, to their Viva Engage community, to their Viva Learning resources. So just making all of your items all interconnected. And I'm going to hand it off to Giant to talk about the kickoff of our event.
All right. Let me take control of the screen. I hope everyone is able to see and see the slides move. All right, so let's get started. So, hi guys. So now, thank you, Lisa. First of all, my name is Chayant Gupta, and I'll take you through some of the ways to which we can drive engagement and awareness about this event. So now, as we know, that we are Contoso, and we have created this DEI event called Ask Me Anything, or AMA DEI. So how are we going to inform our customers, our end users, which are customers for us IT folks, or the business people? So so first of all, this is a very clever way of communicating with the end users. So we all, as end users, we live in our Outlook. We are reading emails, messages throughout the day, and one of the easiest way to send out the communication is using Outlook. Now, in this case, Contoso is not just using Outlook to send a message, but they're also using it as a way to inform the users that, hey, we are launching this DEI month, but we will also be using a bot, a company communicator app, to inform you guys about the events, about the upcoming learnings, and things like that. So this is one way you're telling your users about the upcoming event, but also introducing them to an app through which they will be communicated. This is being done by Microsoft IT as well. I find it really clever way because it's been very helpful. Now, company communicator, I'm sure you guys heard this word a few times today. And let me tell you, this is one of the simplest bots you can create within Microsoft tenant. Now, this really just needs an Azure app, subscription, and then the steps are pretty straightforward. It's out there in the GitHub. Once you create this app, you will realize how easy it is to send out the communication. Like, I feel like even Outlook sometimes can become a little bit tricky, because then you have to think about, okay, what content should I put? We need to make sure that we don't have a reply all email storm, or we need to apply labels so that people don't reply all, or don't even reply for that matter. So in company communicator, you can just compose a message, just put a title. You can put an image, like, here we have put an image about, what's coming up, a brief summary, who's going to be the author, who is sending this message, and there'll be a button added, so you can add a link to the button. So in this case, we have a DEI event happening. So we have created a Yammer page, which you saw earlier. So this one-way communication, again, within quotes, it's a one-way communication which is sent to your end users. And the only way they can interact is through the link in this message. They cannot reply, so no threats of reply all storms. No need to apply, labels and as such. They'll just see the message. They'll interact through the link. As simple as that. And of course, you can decide who you want to send it to. So you can send it as part of a general channel in Teams, or you can send it to certain members of your organization through chat, or you can send it to everyone. Like, for example, this case, it's a company-wide event, so we will send it to everyone. Or you can also select N365 groups, distribution groups, security groups. So you have all the options available to you through which you can send. And once you save it as a draft, it is available in your Teams, and then you hit send. It gets sent to everyone, and the users will see it like this, where if I'm a user, I see this card sent to me, and I can interact by clicking on this link. So really simple. It just takes a little bit to follow a little bit of steps to add this app. And once added, you can start sending messages and make it really a true one-way and very safe communication for your end users. Another way through which you can have a user or drive user interaction for events such as this is producing that event in the Yammer or Viva Engage. Now, we all know about live events, and I mean, everything has their own use case. The use case here is that, hey, you have a senior member of your organization presenting, talking about a very important topic, and you want to see user interaction. So the beauty of producing these events in Yammer or Viva Engage is that you can also have your users interact while the event is being produced. So people can put up a poll, they can put up their opinion, they can also like a message, comment, share. They can really truly engage, in the event while the event is being run, and even after the event is being run. So that's another benefit of producing the event in Yammer and driving the user communication. Now, it shouldn't just stop at like, hey, this day is the AMA event, especially for topics such as this. Uh, you can decide that, hey, there should be interaction and ongoing interaction with our community. So there are different ways through which that. Uh, Earlier we saw we can produce the event in the Viva Engage, so we can keep that channel open and people can keep interacting. But if you want to close the thread or close the comments out there, there are other ways through which you can also interact. One of the useful ways which we have seen our Microsoft IT do it, and even some of our customers do it, to use Viva Learning. You have Viva Learning, which is uh, comes with most of your Office 365 productivity licenses. You can upload content to Viva Learning, and then again use our company communicator app to send a message to your users. And here the users again can see that, okay, this is a DEI month. These are the learning resources which have been uploaded. And as a user, if I'm working in Teams, I see this message, it immediately gets my attention that, oh, okay, this is a Viva Learning connection. And here, if I click on the link, then I would be able to just click on the link and directly go to the Viva Learning site. And they can access the page, access the event, and all of the good stuff. So this is another smart way of driving the interaction, making people more aware. And finally, I would also like to add something which, especially, depending on, which uh, um, which class of people you are. I mean, sometimes people really like to interact in a Twitter format. Sometimes people like to, like, okay, that's Outlook is enough. But hey, if you really want to see how your interactions are surfacing in your organization, storylines can be a really good deal, because if you put something on a storyline, then the users can interact, can put up, cast a vote, can comment, and the other user can see the story trending. Like, for example, in this case, we had a DEI event, and after the event, Alex went there and posted a poll that, hey, we should try to make it more mainstream in the corporate world, and you can see that people are voting, people are commenting, liking, and the story starts to trend. Now, if I sign in as Deborah and I go to my storyline, I see Alex's post as trending, and then I can interact. So that way, even after the event is done, or if it's a month of that event, we can drive user communication by using storylines in Yammer. So these are different ways through which you can have your users interact for the event and use various tools available to us. Back to you, Lisa.
All right, thanks, Giant. All right, so we have kind of gone through all of the activities and some of the things that will be happening throughout the diversity and equity month at Contoso. So I wanted to walk through a couple of the things that they can still do after that month to continue the conversation and make sure that people stay engaged and stay connected on this topic. So now that we have created these new lines of communication and these new environments, they'll continue to be used over time. So our Viva Engage community, that's not just there for DEI month. It's a place that will persist. It's a location where people will be able to continually engage with each other, ask questions, post news, and other things like that. And the way that they'll be able to stay engaged with that continually is through their notifications within Teams, is one of the ways. So you can see here's an example where our friend Alex posted something in the DEI community in Viva Engage, and they get their notification right through Teams there. So it's all in one place. The other example is, continuing to leverage Company Communicator to let people know of new opportunities for learning. For example, there's a new accessibility course that was made available in Viva Learning. So a Company Communicator card got sent out, and they can click the little button at the bottom there, and it would take them to their Viva Learning where they'd be able to complete that training. And then finally, we have Viva Connections. So this is, like I said before, that kind of home base when you come into Teams. And the way that Contoso has set this up is that when people open up Teams, this is the first thing that they see. And it exposes a lot of the apps and things that they are going to need to access to do their daily tasks, including a lot of the activity that is happening with our DEI community. You can see the feed on the right-hand side there, that they can kind of keep up with the activity and comments and posts that are happening there. And then also a Viva Learning, you can see that they have an assignment for these individual users that they'll be able to easily see when they have learning opportunities and be able to access them all from this nice dashboard here. So just going back to, reiterate from the beginning, Teams is really that centralized location for where these communications are going to be received, because that's where people are really doing their day-to-day work. They're spending their time there, and it makes it just really easy and accessible for them to access all of these other things and receive messages in a way that is a little bit different than just spending all of your time in email. And since it's all part of the same, Microsoft ecosystem, it all integrates together, and it's all very easy to kind of coordinate these messaging campaigns. And then again, in the future, we'll have Viva Amplify, which will make it even easier to manage these larger scale communication campaigns with some automation, some writing guidance, and just consistency, across your comms for all of the different audiences and endpoints where you're trying to reach your users. So I believe that is the last bit of our content. So if we have, I think, a couple of minutes here for questions.
Yeah, I think there's some great questions, and we're doing the best we can in answering them pretty fast. So if we don't get to your question today, feel free to reach out to us and we will make sure to follow up with you. I know there's a lot of questions, especially around Company Communicator and Amplify. And so just to clarify too, Company Communicator is not going away anywhere. We have seen large cases where what's upcoming from Viva Amplify and our customers on Company Communicator will be used at the same time or one over the other. So just wanted to kind of clarify. I think there was a lot of questions. Is Amplify going to take over Company Communicator? And the answer is no. And I can just talk from experience with one of my clients. They're actually going to be leveraging Amplify from an HR resource standpoint and sending out communications in all the different methods that Lisa mentioned. And then they're going to leverage Company Communicator for IT updates in certain groups, just of sending those quick messages. So a lot of great use cases. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And also, I know we're coming up on time. Is if you have not joined our Viva Engage community and would like to get more information on the events that we have upcoming, please go ahead and take out your phone and scan the QR code, or definitely take a select the link that's listed on the PowerPoint, and we'll get you added. And we've already queued up for next month's session. This one's going to be really great. It's going to be focused on SharePoint CenX and Microsoft Viva topics, how they work together. We actually have a great speaker coming in from our Global Black Belt team that's going to talk through this with our group. So it should be a great session. If you can't attend, don't worry. We'll definitely be posting that out on the Health and Life Science blog too. So with that, we'll kind of end today's session. I know we're exactly at the dot. So once again, if you need anything, have questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we will post today's session out on the Health and Life Science blog with today's PowerPoint. So with that, thanks again, Giant and Lisa.